Hello YouTube, this is CJ. This is my first YouTube video ever done. Just want to share everybody my this is my fireplace heat exchanger, I guess. I've seen some on YouTube. Some people have little they make pipes that kind of goes up to the top of the fireplace. And I guess it works, but the problem that I noticed that you can't open up your damper or anything like that. You can't open up your damper or anything. It seems like it takes up a lot of room. Whereas this one here, I'll design it. It fits the shape of my fireplace. I got a little blower fan, and it blows out the heat. So in theory, you build your firewood, your fire on top of this firebox. Once it burns down, once the fire burned down to coals, it's still going to heat this box up pretty hot, and that fan will blow that heat out into the living room, the living area. So in theory, I shouldn't have to burn as much wood. Now, I live in Texas, here in Dallas. It don't get incredibly cold here, but my wife and I do like to burn the fireplace. We like it. I mean, it still gets cold, but nothing like you guys up north. So for the last 11 years, we've been burning about, we go through about a half a quart of wood a year whenever we burn our fireplace. Last year was a pretty warm winter, so we didn't even burn a fraction of that. But anyway, so I'm thinking, it's just a shame for all that heat to go out of the fireplace or the chimney. So I figure I'll build me a heat box. I've been looking at some of them, or a heat exchanger. I've been looking at some of these on YouTube, and like I said, it's pretty neat ideas. I just want to keep mine simple. So the way I built this, and the way I built this here, I took some cardboard, and if you can see the shape, I mean not cardboard, but poster board, but if you can see the shape of this heat exchanger, it's the exact same shape as my fireplace. And what I did, I took some poster board and make a template out of it. And I took it to a machine shop that I worked with on other projects in the past. They cut it out or stamp it out. They got this huge machine that's just incredibly strong. It literally just stamp out what you need. They don't do any cutting with a blade per se, but anyway. So the sides are 2 inches. So I made it 2 inches tall. Those are square tubing that I had laying around the house. By the way, the square tubing, this 4-inch, now that's just 2-inch square tubing. The 4-inch square tubing, I had it laying around the house. The metal template, I had the guys, and also the sides here, the 2-inch sides. I had the guys to cut all that out at the machine shop where I go, metal fabrication place. But anyway, it's the exact same size as my fireplace. The shape is. So all I did is I welded up the bottom. I got the sides on here. I welded up the sides on here, as you can see. So it cost me $75 for the material and for them to cut it. It wasn't a big project or anything. I mean, a lot of metal. And then the fan, I had it on another project. I used, it was just a little blower, a high volume blower that I've used on a different project. I made a homemade air conditioner, which works really good too, by the way, out of a heater core, but that's another video. So what I'm doing today, uh, I'm going to weld some little sides on here. I'm going to weld some little sides to keep the ashes in. And I'm gonna have it all the way across, like like so. You know what I mean? So that way, it kind of serves two purposes here. Is that it'll keep the ashes in, and keep any little logs or anything from rolling back into the house here, or out of the fireplace rather. So, but anyway, I just want to show you. I just wanted to show you how that worked on my little project here. See my little pooches here? That's Kiwi being nosy as normal. And then my other little one, where she's at? Here she is. That's Sugar. She's the ringleader. But anyway, I'll show you the finished product, and I will show you what it looks like once I have it in the fireplace. Oh, and by the way, I already burned some wood and everything on top of it in the backyard because I wanted to burn off all the oils and everything on it, so didn't want any issues. So, but anyway, I'll be right back. One other thing before I get started too good here, I just wanted to, I forgot to mention that this little contraption here, whatever you want to call it, this heat exchanger, I made it out of a 1/4-inch metal. It is extremely heavy. It is very heavy, and one reason why it's so heavy, right in the center of this here, right in the center, I have some more of this square tubing. It just kind of cut. It's this part, the top part is cut off, and it's just sitting right in the middle. My thinking is that, and I tend to overbuild things too sometimes, but my thinking is this box is going to get pretty damn hot with all those red hot coals, and I didn't want it to sag with the weight of the wood. When it's being hot, it very well might be okay, but I don't know. But and the other thing is that when all of this metal was heated up, that metal, the support inside here, when it's all heated up, the top is heated up, man, that's gonna that's a lot of mass that's gonna get heated up. So when the fire burns down, then you just have nothing but coals, red hot coals. I still should be able to get a lot of heat coming out of this box here, where it'll heat up the house here. Well, the living area where my fireplace is at. I'm just doing this because I just hate to. I've been wanting to do this for years. I've been looking on YouTube and saw some, like I said, saw some other people doing some things, but boy, it's just a shame all of that heat just goes right out of your, right up the chimney there. I like to recoup more of that heat into the house, to just offset some of my electric costs during the winter time. I got an all electric house, so I got a heat pump, and my heat pump, the air handler up in the attic, starting to give me a little problems where my the little auxiliary heat strip kicks in, and then when that damn thing kicks in, man, the electric bill just spikes. So my thinking, I'm gonna try to offset a little bit of that here this winter and see how it goes. In theory, this looks like it'll work good, but I just can't see why I wouldn't. But anyway, in case anybody wondering what I do for a living, that's my little welder there. I am not a welder by trade. I drive 18-wheelers for a living. Been doing it for the last 14, 15 years. I've been an owner operator. I own and operate my own truck for the last 14, 15 years at that same time. And so welding is something I love doing. I'm not a welder, as you can tell. Some of these welds, they just look terrible compared to the pros out here. But it does, you know, get the job done way good enough for me. You know, I've been welding, oh gosh, maybe 12, 13 years, I imagine. And just little house projects, stuff on my truck, you know. But again, I'm not a welder by trade, but as you can see, some of these welds, they look terrible. I'm sure a professional, but for my little goings on, what I need to do, it works just fine. It gets the job done, you know. But I got me, like I said, a little Lincoln. It's a 180. It's a Lincoln 180, 220 volt. But anyway, I'm gonna get this welded up. This little ash guard, I'm gonna call it. Get the little ash guard welded up, and then I'll show you what it looked like. Oh, one other thing I want to point out real quick too. On this fan here, I made a little gasket out of silicone, and all this silicone here is silicone that I got at Walmart. It's those little heating, the little pot holders. You know, those little pot holders that can hold a lot of heat. I didn't want too much of the heat transferring through here, you know, to my fan. You know, I'm trying to protect that as much as I can here. But so I made a couple of gaskets. I made a couple of gaskets here, you know, out of that silicone. So try to have some type of thermal break in here to keep that heat from transferring so much of it. But when this is in the fireplace, by the way, when I got this all set in the fireplace, this part here, this is in the fireplace. This part of it is. This kind of sticks out just a little bit. This, however, all of this is outside the fireplace. I didn't want it, you know, off to the side. I try to keep it where it didn't have too much heat getting to it. And then too, I'm gonna put this on a remote where I can turn it on and off. That way it doesn't, you know, I ain't got to get up because I'm just lazy like that, I guess. But anyway, I'll get this all welded up on this ash guard, and I'll be right back. All right, YouTube, I'm back. Got the ash guard welded up. I got my fan running to cool this damn thing off because it's pretty hot. And that just the heat that's coming off from the welding is just well, this thing is going to work. This is going to work. But anyway, again, I'm not a welder. I just play one on TV here, but I enjoy it. It does what I need it to do, and I just needed something to catch those the ashes. I didn't want it to fall in. I just didn't want it to fall in, you know, out of this little contraption of mine here. But I believe this is going to work. It's net fan. It's relatively quiet. It's not too bad. But I think she's going to work. This other piece of metal I got down here is going to make some metal targets. Family got some land that we'll go shooting, but I got an AR-15 Colt that I enjoy shooting. Kel-Tec Sub 2000. So I was gonna make some targets out of that piece of metal. When I lift this up, I'll show you. But anyway, got some scrap metal right here to make some of those. So that's what I have on my table to keep it from keeping it from being melted. But it's a target somewhat of a silhouette of a, you know, human silhouette. Not quite, but it'll get the job done. But anyway, I'll show you once I have it all installed into my fireplace and kind of get the final look at it. Okay, YouTube, this is what my fireplace looked like before the insert. And here's what it looks like with it in. So you can see how it fits in there, the same shape. Like I said, I just took some poster board, made a template of the bottom of that fireplace, and I just cut it out. Took it to a metal fabrication place to have them to cut the plates, and then I welded it all together, of course. As you can see, the fan don't stick too terribly far out. The reason why I put the fan and everything on this side, my thinking was that it'll keep away from the heat as much as possible. Is what I'm trying to do, is keep it away from the heat. So I figure if I got it out and to the side, wouldn't get as much heat radiating from the fireplace. It's still going to get hot, but you know, it's going to be not like direct close inside of it. So, and then I got my little there you put your wood on, and the cord, I got it plugged in to this little outlet thing I made here, and what it is, and that's my little remote deal I put it in. That right there is a speed controller. I can control the speed of the fan. So I can take my little remote and turn it on. Because I'm just lazy like that. So when I'm sitting in my recliner, I can just turn it on and turn it off. You see it over there. Just turned it off. But anyway, like I was saying, some YouTube videos I've been looking at with the heat exchangers, they made them out of poles, or pipes rather, that goes up the wall of the fireplace and pointing back out to you, and I cannot access my I won't be able to access my my damper. So doing it this way, it's a lot easier. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys some see what I'm doing. Maybe somebody else out there, this might give them an idea how they want to do theirs. But just the way I did mine, and so whenever it gets cold enough to burn in this fireplace, I'm anticipating this is going to work really well. Anyway, YouTube, that's my video. Again, this is the first video I've ever done. So I hope this helps someone to build theirs, and leave comments at the bottom. Thanks.